The Origins of Money by Carl Menger. Chapter 7. The Process of Differentiation between Commodities which have become media of exchange and the rest. When the relatively most saleable commodities have become money, the great event has in the first place the effect of substantially increasing the originally high salableness. Every economic subject bringing less saleable wares to market to acquire goods of another sort has thenceforth a stronger interest in converting what he has in the first instance into wares which have become money, by the exchange of their less saleable wares for those which as money are most saleable, attain not merely as heretofore a higher probability, but the certainty of being able to acquire forthwith equivalent quantities of every kind of commodity to be had in the market, and their control over these depends simply upon their pleasure and their choice. On the other hand, he who brings other wares than money to market finds himself at a disadvantage more or less. To gain the same command over what the market affords, he must first convert his exchangeable goods into money. The nature of his economic disability is shown by the fact of his being compelled to overcome a difficulty before he can attain his purpose, which difficulty does not exist for, i.e., has already been overcome by the man who owns a stock of money. This has all the greater significance for practical life, inasmuch as to overcome this difficulty does not lie unconditionally within reach of him who brings less saleable goods to market, but depends in part upon circumstances over which the individual bargainer has no control. The less saleable are his wares, the more certainly he will have either to suffer the penalty in the economic price, or to content himself with awaiting the moment when it will be possible for him to effect a conversion at economic prices. He who is desirous, in an era of monetary economy, to exchange goods of any kind whatever which are not money for the other goods supplied in the market cannot be certain of attaining this result at once or within any predetermined interval of time at economic prices, and the less saleable are the goods brought by an economic subject to market, the more unfavorably for his own purposes will his economic position compare with the position of those who bring money to market. Consider, for example, the owner of a stock of surgical instruments who is obliged through sudden distress or through pressure from creditors to convert it into money. The prices which it will fetch will be highly accidental, nay, the goods being of such limited salableness, it will be fairly incalculable, and this holds goods of all kinds of conversions, which in respect of time are compulsory sales. Other is his case who wants at a market to convert the commodity which has become money forthwith into other goods supplied at that market. He will accomplish this purpose not only with the certainty, but usually also at a price corresponding to the general situation. Nay, the habit of economic action has made us so sure of being able to procure in return for money at any goods on the market, whenever we wish, at prices corresponding to the economic situation, that we are for the most part unconscious of how many purchases we daily propose to make, which with respect to our wants and the time of concluding them, are compulsory purchases. Compulsory sales, on the other hand, in consequence with economic disadvantage, which they commonly involve, force themselves upon the attention of the parties implicated in unmistakable fashion. What therefore constitutes the peculiarity of a commodity which has become money is that the possession of it procures for us at any time, which is at any moment we think fit, assured control over the commodity to be had on the market, and this usually at prices adjusted to the economic situation of the moment. The control, on the other hand, conferred by other kinds of commodities over market goods is, in respect of time and in part of price as well as uncertain, relatively if not absolutely. Thus the effect produced by such goods as are relatively most saleable becoming money is an increase in differentiation between their degree of salableness and that of all other goods, and this difference in salableness ceases to be altogether gradual, and must be regarded in a certain aspect as something absolute. The practice of everyday life, as well as jurisprudence, which closely adheres for the most part to the notions prevalent in everyday life, distinguish two categories in the wherewithal of traffic: goods which have become money and goods which have not, and the ground of the distinction we find lies essentially in that difference in the salableness of commodities set forth above. A difference so significant for practical life, and which comes to be further emphasized by intervention of the state. This distinction, moreover, finds expression in language in the difference of meaning attached to money and wares, to purchase and exchange, but it also affords the chief explanation of that superiority of the buyer over the seller, which has found manifold consideration, yet has hitherto been left inadequately explained.